This tutorial, we're going to cover adding new products or parts or services to your database. And this will be used through using an Excel spreadsheet. And of course, these are products that you would not be doing through Toad. If there are parts that are part of Toad, you really need to use that process to add new products. And that's again under Add Edit Products, and we have a separate tutorial on adding products through Toad. But this one's going to be all new parts, not covered by Toad. So to do that, we're going to go under Add Edit Products. Now this could be an Excel spreadsheet that you build yourself, or you get from your vendor. And there are three primary fields that you will need if it's coming from your vendor. I'll pull one over here. There's one I just started. And that'll be, you'll need the part number, preferably a description. Part number, of course, is how it's going to be ordered if you were to place an order for that item. And the list price or net price or however your pricing is working for these items. Now this is going to be a lot quicker than going through Add Edit Products and adding each item one at a time. When you use the Excel spreadsheet, you can have 10 parts or 10 items or 10,000 items, doesn't matter. Just need to get your Excel spreadsheet together. And to do that, you want to come down to this button down here. It says Import Update Products. And we're working on importing at this time. So this is a form we're going to use. Now, of course, like I said, the first thing you want to do is get your spreadsheet together. And I've got one here that I've started on. These are some hollow metal doors by a company called Premier Steel Doors. I've created these part numbers. I'm not sure what their nomenclature is for their parts, but I just did this on my own. So this is what you can do also if you're going to be building your own Excel spreadsheet for this. Again, create the part numbers with a description and a list price. There are additional columns. We'll get to that in just a bit. So just to give you an example of some things you can do, especially if you're building your own Excel spreadsheet, kind of speed the process up. I'm going to give you a few things you can do in Excel to make this go a little bit quicker. So you can see I've got parts in here right now. It starts for a 2068. There's 26, 28, 30, 36, and a 40. Now, I think in this particular door for Premier, I believe these are non-handed. But let's say these are handed. One thing I can do to speed up my process of creating parts is, let's say I want to put in the handings. So what I can do is I want to put an LH, let's say, for example, at the end of this part number to designate a left-hand door. So to do that, what I'm going to do is come up here on the next column over, right-click on it, and click Insert. And then I'm going to click in this first cell that lines up with the first part number here. And I'm going to come up to Formulas. Click on that, and then come under Text. And under Text, I'm going to click on Concatenate. And what this is asking me is the first text and the second text that I want to put together. The first one is going to be whatever is in this first cell here, which is column A, row 2. And since I'm putting it at the end, I'm going to put this part number first, which is going to be A2. And then in the next text box, I want to add an LH to the end of this part number. And I want it separated with a space, so I'm going to type an actual space in here, and then LH. And when I click OK, you can see it took that part number and added LH to the end of it. Now, all I need to do at this point is I'll make sure this first cell is highlighted. Click on Control C on my keyboard to copy that. I'll take my mouse, click on the first empty cell right underneath that, hold the mouse button down and drag down to the last item. And now I'm going to do Control V on my keyboard to paste. So you can see it automatically went from A2 to A3, A4, A5, A6, A7. So it did that automatically for me and put the LH at the end of it. Now, the next thing we have to do is this is still the actual formula. Even though we see the part number here, if I try to use this in Portal Pro, it would paste in or copy in this formula. We don't want that. So I'm going to click on the first one, hold the Shift key down on my keyboard, and click the last item. Then I'm going to do Control C on my keyboard again to copy. And then I'm going to come over here, click on the first one, go down to the last one, hold the Shift key down again, get them all highlighted. Do not do Control V to paste. Instead, right-click with your mouse, and you'll see these paste options right here. You want the second option, which is values. You don't want the first one because that's just going to copy the formula. You want the actual value from that field. So we'll click on values, and you can see now it pasted those values over here for me. So you can see I have the actual part number there, and over here it's still the formula. So once I've completed that, I'm done with this column. I'm going to go up here to the letter B, right click on it, and click delete, just to remove that whole column. Now I can do the same over here if I want to add the words left hand to the end of this to designate for the LH. I'll just come over here and I'll right click, insert, come into this first cell. Again, come up to text and concatenate. And now in this case, it's going to be column B, item 2. So I'll do B2. And then in the next cell, I want to concatenate, there's a space, left hand. And you can see, you keep on adding more if you want, but that's, in this case, we just want left hand. So I'll say OK. And you can see it has the description now with the left hand added to the end of it. So again, I want to copy this. Click on the first cell, come down to the last one, hold the Shift key down on my keyboard, get them all highlighted, and now do Control V. And it copied all that in. So again, I'm going to click on the first one, hold the Shift key down, click on the last one, do Control C again, come over here, click on the first one, hold the Shift key down, click on the last one, and again, right click, do not Control V or paste. I'm going to right click and do values. Now I got the values over there. So you can see that's the value now. This is still a formula. So I'm done with this column. Right click again on the C and delete. So remove the whole column. All right. So I've got left hand in there. Now I want to do the exact same doors, but now I want to make right hands. So I'm going to come over here in this far left column. You see it turns into an arrow. I'll click on the first one. I'll hold the Shift key down on my keyboard and come down to the last one. It highlights all of them. I'm going to do Control C to copy, and then click on the first empty cell here and do Control V. I pasted all the same ones back in here. Now what I want to do is I want to take the first one, Shift key, click on the last one. Now instead of formulas with text, I'm going to go back over to Home and then come over here to I believe it's this one here, find and select. This we can do without using a formula. So I'll click on this and I want to do replace. And as long as whatever I have highlighted, it's what I want to do is I want to replace LH and replace it with a RH. I was practicing this before, and so I guess I looked and remembered what I had in here before. But I'm doing this with a so what I'm going to do, let's go ahead and clear these out. I'll show you what I was. I'm going to put the letters LH, but I'm going to do a space LH. So I'll do space LH. And the reason I do that is because LH could possibly appear somewhere else in the part number. I don't want it replacing that. I just want it replacing what's at the end here. So then I'll come down, I want to replace it with, again, space RH. And I'll click on replace all. And it's done. Now we made it right hand. Now I want to do the same thing over here. Click on this. That's going to be left hand. I want to replace it with space right hand. Replace all. And there we go. Now chances are pretty good. Left hand and right hand are the same prices, so I don't have to worry about pricing. It's going to be the same. Now I can continue this on. I could do left hand reverse and right hand reverse if I wanted to add those as a handing also. But we're going to leave that. You've got the pretty good idea. Another thing you want to keep in mind is one thing you will not be able to do, like when we're working with frames, you can add components and you can add a full three-sided frame. But we don't have the intelligence built in to, if you're using components, to automatically associate the correct components to a frame. So that will, once you get all your components and your frames entered and using this process with the spreadsheets, you can go back into Portal Pro and add the components through Add Edit Products. So you'll have to open up each frame to add the components for that frame. So just want to keep that in mind when we're working with this. Okay, so that gives you an idea of what we can do to work with this. And I can continue on. Now, when you're building these Excel spreadsheets, keep in mind too, let's pull the form back up here. What we need to do is we need to enter in who we're going to be buying these products from. If you don't buy direct from Premier and you buy them from someone else, put them as the vendor. Otherwise, if you buy direct from Premier, they would also be the vendor, as we've covered before. And it automatically loads them as a manufacturer. And you need to select a category. In this case, we're doing hollow metal doors. So keep this in mind. If you're trying to do doors and frames, then put your doors on one Excel spreadsheet, put your frames on another Excel spreadsheet. So in other words, if you got an Excel spreadsheet from your vendor, you would want to separate those items by category. Otherwise, you'll be putting frames in under hollow metal doors, and you'll never find them if you're looking under hollow metal frames. Okay, so, and the same is true with if these parts had different vendors, you would want to create separate spreadsheets by vendor, and including discounts also. So we're going to go ahead and select hollow metal doors as a category. And you notice when I did that, we have additional fields that open up over here. And these are door details for door schedule. So these are fields that you'll want to fill in if you intend to use these doors on door schedules. So we'll cover this in just a bit. So next thing we want to do is come up and select the standard everyday discount that we will get from this vendor for these doors. And in this case, we do have a standard. Do not select special. We've said this many times in other tutorials. Special is a one-time discount you get from a vendor for a specific project. So it's not a discount you're going to use every time you buy something from them. It's a discount you would only use on that particular project. So you'll want the standard everyday discount, whether it's there. If you don't have a standard discount in here, then you'll need to go over to administration and right here, manage discounts. So you can add a new discount for that vendor right here. The same thing with anything else. If there's going to be a door series, make sure you have series entered. That's done through this button right here. Okay, so we're going to select the standard discount. And that's the fields that puts in the discount percent and the multiplier. This is, again, the important number, the multiplier. If you don't have this, don't worry about it. It's okay. Now, this is checked by default whether or not these items will be taxable. If you were doing, let's say, some new installation type items or service that your company does, and the service in your state is not taxable, then you would uncheck that. Or, if you have items on your spreadsheet that are both taxable and non-taxable, again, separate those into separate spreadsheets. All right, so doors are typically taxable, so we'll leave that checked. Part type is the standard 4 items here. If it's hollow metal doors are an inventory part, that's something you can put into inventory, whether you put them in inventory or not, that's what they are. They could be a non-inventory part if you want to list them that way. Doesn't really make any difference now. But just make sure you don't choose something like assembly or service. Assembly would be something like a 3-sided frame, 3070 5 3/4 right-hand frame that's made up of components like a hinge jamb, lock jamb, and a head. So in this case, like I said, we're going to do inventory part. We may want to put those on the shelf someday. And these fields are for QuickBooks. If you don't use QuickBooks, you might not have to worry too much about these. It doesn't really matter. But QuickBooks will require these fields to be before you can send these products to a QuickBooks file. So income, and this comes from your list of QuickBooks accounting fields. So I believe on this, income is usually sales, income, cost of goods, COG is cost of goods, and asset account I believe is inventory asset. Okay, so now we've got these fields in. Now we come down here. It says to match Excel fields. These are the fields we're going to match from the Excel file. So before we do that, we have to tell Portal Pro to get the files and pull it into Portal Pro so we can work with it. So again, when you're creating your Excel spreadsheet, you can name these columns anything you want. It doesn't matter because when it pulls it in, it's going to read whatever it is you typed in here. The thing to keep in mind, though, is, let's move this down here a little bit. You'll notice some of these drop downs have these 3 asterisks, red asterisks. And it says here, denotes value from drop down. Now what that means is, let's pull this over out of the way. And let's take this first one, unit of measure. Now, of course, right now there's nothing in there because it's going to be reading from your Excel spreadsheet. But what we want to do is for unit of measure, since those 3 asterisks are there, we'll come back over to Add Edit Products. Come over to the Unit of Measure drop down here. Click the drop down, and we're going to select whatever unit of measure we want to use for our parts. And they can be different. If one item is each and another item is a pair or whatever, you can intermix those in the Excel spreadsheet. You just have to, when you create the column in Excel, make sure you note the difference. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this first, typically a door is each. So what I did is I selected each. Now I'm going to take my mouse, make sure that's highlighted, and I'm going to do Control C to copy. And what I did is I copied that value. And you can see this selection is the word EA, and it's separated with this, it's a special character. It's called a tilde. And that's on the top left-hand side, typically, of your keyboard. It's a special character. And we use that to separate for example, like a part number and a description. So you can just copy the whole thing, or you just take the left side of this, the EA. That's all you really need. You can do it either way. But to keep things simple, we're just going to go ahead and do Control C, copy the whole thing. We're going to come over to our spreadsheet. We're going to add a column. I'm going to give that column a name first in that top cell. Let's just call it UOM for unit of measure. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to click into the first empty cell and do Control V. And you can see it copied that value in there for me. So now I'm going to click out of it and then click back in it again. I'm going to do Control C, and then I'm going to click on the first one underneath that, come down to the last one, hold the Shift key down on my keyboard, click, highlights all of them. Now I'm going to do Control V. And now I've got that value in there for all of them. Just a couple tips here. Let's back that out. Something else you can do is, we'll do Control C again to copy that. If you only have certain cells that are getting this value, click on the cells that are to get that value. So let's say it's this one. Now I'm going to hold my Control key down on my keyboard, not the Shift key, but the Control key, which is the key right below the Shift key. And now I can click on the cells that I want to get that value. So let's say it's those. Now I'll do Control V. You can see it only pasted in those cells that I selected. But in this case, they're all going to get that value, so we'll just paste them all in. Just some handy tricks to help you work with this. Okay, so what I'm going to do is each one of these fields now with an asterisk. Get that back up here. Windows. Here. Each one of these fields, if I want to, these are optional. You don't have to put them in. You don't have to put these in. You don't have to do inventory. But they're there if you want them. We have some other fields over here like net add, surcharge percent. Again, if I want to use those, all I have to do, now there are no three asterisks, so it'll be whatever I type into my Excel spreadsheet is what's going to be used. So for example, if I want to add a column for surcharge, I'll create a column, name it whatever you want, and then I'll put in whatever value, and this is a percent, surcharge percent. And then I'll type in whatever the percent is going to be. Typically it'll be the same thing for all the items, but there could be a possibility one particular item might not have a surcharge on it for whatever reason. But again, you can use the selective paste or paste them all, what we just showed you under each. So whatever the value is going to be here, let's say it's 10%. I'll just type 10. You don't want anything, don't type a percent sign or anything, just numbers only. Control C, Control V. So now all my items have a percent surcharge to them. And I want to continue on like that for all of these columns I want to add. The more columns I fill in here, the less I will have to do later if I need them. Okay, door preps. That has the 3 asterisks. This is a door, so there really wouldn't be any preps on the door itself when you buy a door. So we're just going to leave that blank. And this, of course, this isn't a frame, so that's going to stay blank. We do have an install type. Let's go back over here to the add edit products. You can see right here, install type. So this is something we could install. For example, this could be, here we go, install door hollow metal. So I can select that. Again, highlight it, and do Control C to copy it. Come over to my spreadsheet. I'll create a new column called install type. And again, Control V. And I'll highlight it, Control C, click here, Shift key down on my keyboard, and do Control V. So now I have that in for all the line items. So you can see how I'm building up this spreadsheet with all the necessary columns that I want to add. I can even do the same for hourly rate and the amount of time. Hourly rate is the dollar amount that you charge per hour. How much time you think it would take to install that. Because those are columns that are available right here. So hourly rate. So I could create an hourly rate column in my spreadsheet right here, and then put in whatever the values I want to be for that hourly rate. And same with hours and minutes. Same with inventory. If you want to go ahead and put the inventory location in now for these doors, just add a column to the spreadsheet. Okay, then we come over here to the door details for door schedule. Now, size does not have the 3 asterisks. So if you're going to create a column for size, just keep some things in mind. Don't do something like 3, 0, double quote, space, X space, 6, quote, 8, double quote. And the reason is you want to put a number in here that will fit in the door schedule. So if I pull up a door schedule, show you what I'm referring to. So you have the nominal size here. There's a limited amount of space. So when you create your part number, do something like 2068 3070 or whatever the part is. That just makes it easier. You can use the longer nomenclature if you like, but what could happen is if it doesn't all fit into this cell, it's going to add another line below this, and it'll make your door schedule actually even bigger, just so it can fit all the text in there. So for size, again, we're just going to add something like, that would be a 2068. And let's see, what do we have again? 26, okay. Two, 8, 6, 8, 3, 0, 6, 8. And again, I can make myself work with this a little bit quicker. I'll just do Control C, highlight those, Control V, because they're going to be the same. They're the same doors, they're just different handings. So the size is the same. Okay, so that's adding all the columns to your Excel spreadsheet. And again, now you've got door series. Come over to your add edit products. Now what you want to do is pull up Premiere and do hollow metal doors. And when the door detail section opens up, go under series, and you can copy that same thing. This is how you would add the series to your parts as you add them into Portal Pro. And again, just copy and paste this value into your spreadsheet, create a column called door series, whatever. Copy the values in there. Should be the same for all the doors, so you can just copy it down all the way down for all of them. And you'll have series in there. And do the same thing for each one of those. Anything that has that, there are 3 red asterisks following the drop down. Like gauge veneer, 18 gauge, copy that. Lock prep is CH for cylindrical lock, and hinge prep, it's 161 prep for this door, and on down for all these different values. Okay, so I'm going to pull up another spreadsheet. This is a spreadsheet that I've already added a bunch of columns to. It doesn't have the handings and all that on it. But you can see I've added all the door schedule drop downs to it, like door series, gauge, lock, design, they're all flush, handings, non-handed, material, thickness, and finish. So once I've got my spreadsheet finished and built, now I can say, let's get the file. I'll click this button, and this will come up. Now I can select the spreadsheet. Now I'll show you something that's going to happen here. I'll go ahead and click on it. This is the one I want with all the extra columns in it. It'll tell me the Excel file appears to be open. Close the file and try again. And because I do have this file open, it cannot open it. So make sure the file's closed first. I'll go ahead and close it now. Now we go to Get File, and we should be able to select it now. Give it a minute, depending on how big your spreadsheet is. It's completed. You can see it put the path to the Excel spreadsheet where it was located. And now I can go down through all of these drop downs and add the necessary columns. Like for part number, I want to match the Excel spreadsheet column, which is part number. So I'll match it that way. Same with the description, right here. List price, there. Net add, there is none, so I can leave that blank. Surcharge, there is none. Unit of measure, here. I don't think I have a weight, no. Cut sheet path. Let me cover that real quick. You can add cut sheet path to your file. So in our spreadsheet, now I can't see, I might be able to open it up now that it's already loaded into Portal Pro. Let's see what we got here. Well, let's just use this one. It'll work the same way. So in the spreadsheet I'm going to be using, I can add another column, we'll call it cut sheets. And what I want to do is add the path to the PDF file cut sheet that I'll be using for this door. And again, if you've watched any of the other tutorials, you know that when it comes to cut sheets, if it's not part of Toad, then you want to create a folder on a shared drive that everyone has access to. It's best that you don't, if you're the only one in your company using Portal Pro, okay, no problem. But if there are multiple users, then you want to make sure everyone has access to those cut sheets. Because if you're gone on vacation or something, they will not be able to get to those cut sheets if your PC is locked or whatever. So set up either a PC or whatever it might be, but share the drive. In this case, you can see I have it's another PC here in the office with a drive I have mapped to. And I can I have a folder on that drive called Cut Sheets. And here you can see I have Premier Steel Doors. I'll double click that. And this is a doors file that it's a spreadsheet, or a cut sheet rather, for their steel doors. So what I'm going to do is I'll put my mouse over the file, right click on it, and I get this option that says copy as path. So I'll copy that. Now my spreadsheet, I've created a column here called Cut Sheets. Let's make this a little wider. And I'll do Control V to paste that in. And that'll be the path that'll be saved to my database for this particular door. And it should be the same thing for all those doors. They're all the same series and everything. So I'll just copy and paste that all the way down. So that's how you're going to do the cut sheet file. Okay, but I don't have cut sheets in the main file here, so you can. Door preps, there are none. Install type, I did not add that, I don't believe. Nope. So these can all stay blank, no inventory. I did add some of these. I don't know if I put size in there. Apparently not. That's okay. Door series right here. Gauge. Lock prep. Lock. Door design. Handing. Material. Thickness. And finish. There are no fire ratings on this one, but I could have those if I had that column. Okay. So once I've got all this, we're ready to add these parts to our database. So just look it over real quick, make sure all the necessary columns are filled in. It will tell you if you're missing a vendor, a manufacturer, even a category discount. If you're using QuickBooks, it'll let you know if these are empty, but you can put them in later if you want. It just goes quicker for you if you do it now from your spreadsheet. You don't have to worry about it later. So once I'm satisfied, I've got all my columns matched up, I click Save Parts. And this will go through. We're not going to add these because I'm not ready to add this in there to my test database yet. But it'll add all those parts from that spreadsheet into the database. And then once they are in here, I can come back over. I will have to, if I look at under Premiere now, looks like there are some things in here. CYMY. Okay, these apparently are some doors that are already built in. Now, another thing that this program will do is if you try to copy in the same part number, it will not do it. It'll bypass it. It'll just move on to the next line item in your Excel spreadsheet. So that'll help prevent any duplicate entries in your database for the same item. But once I do finish adding these products in through the Excel spreadsheet right here, then I can come back over. I can either click on hollow metal doors to reload this drop down, or I click on the manufacturer again to reload the manufacturer, and that'll reload all these drop downs again. Yeah. If you only select the manufacturer, you'll probably have to make sure show all is selected. Otherwise, just click the category, and that'll reload this drop down with all the parts, and it will include the new parts that you just saved to your database. So if there's anything you need to do or make changes to or add to at a later time, you can. For example, inventory, that could be done later.